All right, real quick, I'm just going to show you guys this simple tip that you can be using in n8n every single time you build something when using the HTTP request node and making those API calls. So typically whenever you're using the HTTP request node in n8n, because obviously the only reason we usually use it is because n8n doesn't already have like a direct integration, so we have to make a custom HTTP request or API call. This is typically what yours will look like. You'll have the URL here for the software or whatever you're trying to integrate with. Usually this says none. You'll have headers that you have to send over, which is basically your API key, and then you'll have your JSON body that you send over with basically the request or what you're trying to get the other software to do with the information that you're trying to give, if that makes sense. But what happens is if you have multiple workflows or systems in n8n that are trying to access the same software, you have to, every time you do this, you have to reconfigure your HTTP request because this stuff doesn't get stored in n8n. Another thing is if you were trying to like share this JSON file with someone, your API key would be visible and they would be able to access your API key, which is a big no-no. An API key is basically like your workflow's social security number. So n8n added this awesome feature where you can actually save your credentials and save your authentications for custom API calls. That way, every single time I want to make an API call to a certain software that isn't directly integrated in n8n, I can just have it saved as a custom credential for that software. So for example, if I wanted to access this software called key.ai, this is where my API token would be. This is my authorization here. Every single time, if I don't have it saved, every single time I want to make a custom API call to this software, I have to go in, get my API token, reconfigure everything. Now, every time you will have to configure the body. That's because every request is unique. But I do have to go back, create a token, because sometimes you can't access your tokens after they're done being visible. But what you can do is, let me show you this other node where I used the n8n authentication saver.